Okay, well, these podcasts haven't really started with a big official opening scene or dance and song or whatever, but Senkyoushi Sitdown here with none other than Kaicho and Shimai. So welcome to St. George.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm so happy to be here with you.
Thank you. What brings you to St. George besides this?
Well, we have TuaCon tickets tonight.
Okay.
We have annual passes and what have you, and so we come down usually 2 or 3 times a year, and this happens to be our second one, and
okay,
we're excited for this evening to be able to take one of our best missionaries out with us to TuaCon with his wife. So
don't say it too much, but thank you. I appreciate the sentiment. So who is it that likes TuaCon the most?
I think we're equal.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been good. We've had them for 3 or 4 years now.
Okay.
We used to have a condo down here.
Nice.
And so we decided to do that, but we sold the condo a couple of years ago. But we decided to keep the tickets because it brings us down.
So come down and just hotel it or Airbnb it for a couple of days and then
we
go back.
have a good friend that lives out in
Awesome.
Egans too, so that's who we're staying with.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, small world. I saw you two 4-ish years ago at TuaCon because for Christmas one year we also got season passes and my wife was very pregnant and we were trying to make it to all the shows, but it's still hot when they start at 8:30.
Yeah.
And when we had those summer shows and she was very pregnant, we left halfway through some of them.
Bless her heart.
But we did quote unquote force ourselves. I like theater, she likes it, so we've had a good time. But do you have a favorite show? One that you've seen?
Gosh, we're hoping that Newsies is going to be a good one. We're coming down in September to see Newsies. We've heard good things about that. We have some of my sisters that have season passes also, and they said they really liked that one a lot. But so far this year with the Little Mermaid was good. I think that's our second time we've seen it, but it was fun.
We saw that one. I liked this one actually wasn't at TuaCon. It was at the indoor TuaCon venue, but it was the one about like Elvis Presley and all those. Yeah. What's that one called? Something Orchestra or
I think it was called that.
I called it Jersey Boys the other day, and my wife was like, "That's
not
it."
Right. we saw Jersey Boys too, and that was really a good one.
It was a good one.
Maybe it'll come to me later.
It wasn't the rock shop. That was the young one with the kids with the bands.
We've never
stuff,
seen the Elvis one. We've never been in the indoor theater.
Yeah, that one was probably my favorite. Just the music in it was great, and the performers.
Because it was air conditioned.
It was air conditioned. That was nice. That was definitely a plus. But it was all the characters that are playing are obviously historical musicians.
Sure.
And so it's kind of a tall order, but they did really good for measuring up to actually playing Elvis. And I can't even remember half the characters that were in it, but the dude that was on the piano and just like hitting it real hard and standing on top of it and playing it with his feet and stuff. It was entertaining.
Awesome.
Well, I guess beyond TuaCon and St. George, we kind of have a purpose here. It's not our missionary purpose, which we're pretty versed with, but I think my interests lie with, up until now with everybody else, it's been, what made you go on a mission? Oh. I think that we could start possibly with Kaicho because this was your second mission in Japan.
Correct.
So we could maybe run it back to 18, 19-year-old you back in the day.
That was 50 years ago, Elder.
Yeah, if you can squeeze some out of your mind, maybe. I think we could talk about that for a minute. Maybe any experiences about Japan. Discuss. I'd like to hear more about your career as well.
Okay.
I know it was Lagoon related, with kind of all the games and things like that. If I remember correctly.
For almost 40 years, but there were 6 different jobs before that one came along. Okay, well maybe we can hear about them. I would have interest in that, and then obviously coming to the point of going on your mission and getting called to Fukuoka and then actually going there and being there for 3 years. I'm interested to hear about that experience. And then of course coming back and we'll just get to that point. So you want me to start?
Yeah, Kaicho, send it.
50 years ago.
Mm-hmm. What year did you leave?
1975.
Okay.
I was actually going to Dixie Junior College down here in St. George on a basketball and golf scholarship.
Okay. When
that happened, and I was playing for Coach Doug already, gave me a scholarship. I don't know if you know the history behind all the
people down here in St. George. But anyway, I played that year, and I just happened to my last game of the season. I was playing against the University of Utah, and had my best game of the year, and 28 points and about 14 assists, and had the coach of UTEP, Don Haskins, who was very popular at the time. We played against the junior varsity of University of Utah, and then the other college would come in that, like, he was from UTEP, so they played afterward. But he came to me at halftime and said, "Well, you're having a great game." And then after the game, he hit me up and he says, "What are your plans in the future?" And I says, "I'm not quite sure. I always knew that I wanted to go on a mission." But he says, "Would you be interested in coming down to UTEP and playing basketball?" And I said, "I'd love to hear what you got to say." But I came back down to St. George and went to Institute the next week, and my Institute teacher heard that I had a great game and said, "What's your plans?" And I says, "Well, I got it's maybe an offer from UTEP to go play basketball, but I'm not sure." He says, "What about your mission?" He says, and I said, "Well, I'd like to listen to what he has to say." He says, "What's more important, basketball or a mission?"
Got you with the big introspective question.
And so, as good seminary teachers or Institute teachers did, he says, "I want you to pray about this." And I says, "If I pray about it, I know what I'll do. I'll go on my mission. So I don't know if I really want to pray about it." But anyway, I did, and I went on a mission. And I told Heavenly Father I would go anywhere you send me to go other than Japan. If you can believe that. When I got my mission call, I went down to the back of my dad and mom's house all by myself under the apple tree because
he knew he was going to Japan.
Because I didn't want anybody to see me cry if I ended up getting to Japan. And I opened that up and it said Kobe, Japan, and Kobe. And I just said, "No, I hate rice. I don't like Japanese. I don't like raw fish. Why would he send me there?" And that was the start back in 1975. So the Lord knew where I needed to go, that's for sure.
Feels like a Harry Potter sorting hat type of thing, like, please not Slytherin, please not Japan, please not Japan. And then, of course, that's what's on the paper.
So be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, you manifested it, didn't you? You put it out there.
He knew it.
He knew.
Anyway.
But he had to do that so that we could go back as young marrieds and live there, so that I could have the experience of living in Japan and knowing I could live there.
So
to then go back
30 years later.
Okay.
So Shima and I dated for 2 or 3 years before the mission. We were in high school sweethearts, so to speak. And when I left on my mission, she said she would be there when I got home. Didn't say she wouldn't date. She was proposed to 3 times while I was gone.
They've all heard these stories.
No,
I don't.
I don't recall any of this.
But
I'm used to seeing you guys on a pulpit and talking to a big group instead of hearing these mission stories.
But so anyway, she was here when I got home. But I think just
3 times.
She was a popular young girl.
Yeah, those suitors coming around.
That was the good thing that I went on my mission when I did, because the other 3 suitors I was going to beat before they got home. So.
Well, what about Kaicho? I guess, did you call him Bradley or Brad?
Just Brad.
Brad. What about Brad made you not take a ring from some other boys?
Because I'd promised.
Oh.
I'd promised I'd be here. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
And really, because I wanted my kids to have the best dad they could have.
So you were comparing these boys to that Egan kid, and you said he's going to be a good one. Okay.
Well, back to my mission when I was a young man, I think it was just like all 535 of our missionaries when we went out. It was the hardest thing I ever did.
Until 50 years later.
Until 47 years later when I did it the second time, and it was twice as long.
Yeah.
And it was twice as hard. But I don't think most missionaries, young missionaries, think that it's a difficult thing for seniors or a mission president. But I'd served in a lot of callings, elders quorum presidencies and bishop. I was a bishop, stake presidencies, but there was nothing like a mission president, how hard it was. And
how wonderful.
Yep.
Equal, how it can be both at the same time.
The difficult things bring you closer to your wife and to your Shimai and to your Heavenly Father. Though it was the hardest thing ever. I don't know that to be honest with you, I don't know that I'd ever want to do it again because it was so hard. But I have 535 new children, and I would do it again for them in a heartbeat. But,
well, in retrospect, it wasn't that bad. But when you're in the thick of it, and you're maybe got 3 months under your belt, and you know that it's the majority of 3 years in front of you.
When I go and they hand me an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with all 3 years on it, with every transfer.
There's only 27 transfers.
I had to fold that paper in thirds. I couldn't face the whole thing
at once. I mean, I think we'll get into the challenges of being a mission president a little bit more, but I mean, just very simply the time. I mean, Shimai is 1.5 years and elders are 2 years. And then when you think that mission presidents have a whole nother year on top of that.
It's interesting when President Eyring called us and didn't set us apart. We had another apostle set us apart, but he said, you know, this is a 3-year calling, correct? And I said, yes, I do. He said, do you know why? And I said, no, I don't have a clue. And he says, because mission presidents aren't worth anything to us after 3 years. They're all worn out. They're tired. They can't do it anymore. But I've only felt like that after the first year. I says, how am I going to do this for 2 more years?
I was going to say, shouldn't you say that after like the 1 year or the 2 year mark? What is it about 3 years runs you just enough ragged that
there's
no more use.
There's no more of that bumping and humping and dumping. You know, this every 6 months. It doesn't work for a mission president. It just goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, this will be interesting to talk about. Not like we're jumping into this yet. I think we stick with your mission and then coming back and maybe getting married and having some kids and career. But I mean, just thinking you guys go there, and I knew that when I moved into a place, I was there for anywhere from 6 weeks to maybe 12 or 18. But you guys moved in under the temple. We're going to be here for 3 years. This is the place we're going to live. That would be weird in itself. Under the temple, even.
Do you want me to tell you that story?
Please, yeah.
Before the mission, I was very addicted to going to the temple. I went faithfully every week, at least one time a week, sometimes more. And in my heart of hearts, I never said anything. I just wanted to go somewhere where there was a temple in my mission. But I never prayed for it. I didn't tell anybody. I hope I have a temple nearby that
Other
I
than
can
me,
get to.
you told me.
No, I didn't. Not until after we got the call. Anyway, and then when the call came, I knew there was a temple in Fukuoka. So yes, great. My wish happened. But then when I was at some trainings, the general authority's wife said to me, well, you know you live under the temple. And I'm like, no, what? I didn't know I lived under the temple. So, yeah, that was pretty big.
You might be interested to know, when we got called, we didn't get called to the Japan Fukuoka Mission. We got called by President Eyring to serve in a land that spoke the Japanese language. And so what did we do? Well, we came home and we found out every mission president that was going to be leaving Japan and possibly up in Canada where they have Japanese speaking or where other places. And so if it was Japan, we knew it was going to be Tokyo North, Nagoya, or Fukuoka. And we'd lived in Nagoya before in that area.
No
and
temple.
We knew
there.
It didn't have a temple. Tokyo did have a temple. But
I really didn't want to go there.
That big
I'm not
city,
sophisticated enough to live in Tokyo.
Bougie Tokyo.
So Heavenly Father blessed her to where
we
needed to go. And come to find out, looking back, hindsight's 20/20, but because of the size of the mission, as you know, all the way down from Ishigaki and Miyako to down to Amami Oshima to Okinawa, clear up to Hamada to the top, Taneyama, it's big. And so a lot of my traveling after my employment at Lagoon, I opened up my own business, and we had 38 different amusement parks around the world that we were traveling to. So we were used to all the travel. Tokyo, their mission, had 2 hours, and all their missionaries were within 2 hours. Nagoya, it was an hour and a half. All their missionaries were within an hour and a half. What was ours? Plane rides, airplanes, boat rides. I mean, transfer took you all day long on a boat to a airplane to a bus to a Shinkansen, and finally you got there at night. So we could see
the Lord's hand very vividly.
Very cool mission, though, to go down as far south as it is, too.
Yes. Yeah. And how amazing for our missionaries to have such a varied experience, to possibly.
And you were one of those.
Yeah.
I did make it to Okinawa, which I think, I won't speak for everybody, but the majority, I think, I started out in Saga, which is, just Kyushu, and it's like, okay, I hope I get to go to the island someday. That'd be super cool. And then I make it my whole mission all the way up to like my 18-month mark, and I still haven't gone down to an island yet. And I'm like, come on, please. And then, fly down there and spend the rest of my days in Futenma. But just to hear of people that, Kite, he was on Amami Oshima and all those little islands down there.
Yeah, we had some missionaries that never made it to Kyushu. That were down in Ishigaki, then went to Miyako, then up to Okinawa, then Amami Oshima, then went home. And
I got to touch all three. I was on Kyushu and then went up around the corner to Yanai, and then
Honshu then.
So I hit all three.
Good. That's good.
Yeah, I had a good spread. The majority of it was the Inaka places. I didn't serve in any big spots. Futenma was my biggest one, but that was just because of the military members. Yeah. That was a whole culture shock in itself.
Yes.
Well, I guess we run it back to, you haven't gone on your mission yet, but you got your call.
Yep.
And she's going to wait for you. Okay, so you're getting ready.
Getting ready to go.
Make your way to Japan. Anything noteworthy?
We were supposed to go to Hawaii
for the
MTC. But the month before we...
so back in 75, there was an MTC in Hawaii.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. But the month before we left, they closed that MTC, so we went to a Catholic school in Provo called the LTM. It was St. Francis of Assisi. Say that fast 3 times.
I couldn't. I'd do what you just did.
So there was 28 of us in a room and 14 bunk beds, and so we were there for 2 months.
28 and 14 bunk beds.
Yeah.
So snuggling was happening in the MTC.
Well, double
bed.
bunk beds.
Oh, okay.
Bunk beds, Elder.
Okay.
One up, one down.
Okay.
Luckily, I was on the top.
Okay.
But number of times my companion, Elder Hyde, threw me out in the middle of the night. He'd pick up my bunk bed and throw me across the room and stuff.
His feet.
On purpose or like sleep?
Oh, yes.
On purpose, because he wanted us to fly to Japan, so I had to learn how to fly.
Oh,
so
what a guy!
That's what. Yeah, he was very helpful.
What a guy!
Very helpful.
Just prepping you for the trip.
Yep, just prepping me for the trip.
Okay, and this was back in the days when the lessons were.
We had 6 lessons.
6 lessons.
6 colored lesson plan, all different colors,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd have to memorize them all. And pass them all off before you taught that lesson.
And you passed them off in English?
Never pass them off in English. It was all Japanese.
Okay.
But that was probably one of the most difficult things to have to memorize those.
Sure.
And I was very nashin, not to be boastful or arrogant or prideful, but I was up every morning at 2:30, 3 o'clock. Studying for 3 or 4 hours before my companion would get up because I needed to know how to speak Japanese. So how can I teach when I don't know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, there was a lot of missionaries back then that did just memorize, and so you would say the words, then you'd look to your companion and he'd look over at the other ones to see that they're understanding what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Half the missionaries didn't know what they were even saying.
And
I had a hard time with that, so I had to.
They weren't actually like speaking the Japanese language; they were just making sounds that
exactly saying
that you couldn't understand.
Saying memorized words. And
interesting.
So
that would
really
be
hard.
very quite impersonal.
It was.
Yeah.
It was very impersonal and very hard to teach. But luckily, I had.
And that's why we have Preach My Gospel now. That's why it's
actually make it
so much better.
These are humans that you're teaching, and here's the lessons, but you don't got to say them exactly.
Yeah. But luckily, I had an amazing trainer, and he was very, very good, and had a lot of patience with me, and so I had him. Back then, transfers were every 4 weeks rather than every 6 weeks.
And your mission was 18 months?
It was 2 years.
It was 2 years, okay.
24. And so in the MT's LTM for 2 months and then in Japan for the 22 months. But it was hard. Language was hard. Everyone knows that. It still is hard when you're still trying to learn it. But I think Heavenly Father was preparing me. My first companion was amazing. My second one was ready to go home, but still worked hard. But I knew I was only going to have him for 4 weeks. And then my third companion was Japanese, and I didn't understand Japanese still, being only out 2 months. And so that was quite a learning experience. But
those transfers are quick, yeah. Okay.
But I loved Elder Masui to this day. I had 3 Japanese companions throughout my mission and stuff, which helped my language tremendously. And so was in Takatsuki Ibaraki area for 6 transfers, and then went down to Wakayama, then back to Ibaraki, then Okayama, and then Okamachi, and then Kobe, the areas that I served in.
Okay. So I know it's a hard thing to ask, but over 2 years, is there anything that pops up your mind? Anything worth sharing from your mission?
Well, I shared it really with all of our missionaries here. You asked if there's anything I shared. There was 5 things that Shima and I tried to teach our missionaries. And I wanted
how he came up with those.
And I wanted our missionaries to be happy and to be successful. And so there was 1 month, I went back through my entire journal. I was very diligent at keeping a journal my 2 years as a missionary. It's really, unfortunately, and I have to repent someday, but that's the only time I've ever kept a journal was those 2 years.
Hey, but that's important. That's cool.
But I went back and searched that when I got home. I went back and searched that journal.
When we got the call.
When was I the happiest as a missionary? When was I feeling like I was really doing what I should be doing? And there was 1 month with one elder. Elder Green was his name. That we worked hard every single day, from the pedal to the metal till we got up till we went back. We were strictly obedient, and because we were strictly obedient, we found 2 or 3 families to teach,
which was pretty rare.
Which was very, very rare. And the one thing that we did, though, is we had more fun that month on my mission than I had the other 22 months combined. It was just a blast. And we came home tired every night. Back then, you were in your apartment at 9:30, and we would not go into our door until 9:29, and be in the front, and we'd proselyte until if we got home early, we'd go across the street and knock on doors until the time came. And so I learned that. I put that into my life, and not just as a missionary, but as a father, and hopefully as a husband, as an employee, as a boss. Those were the 5 things that I wanted to do, to teach. That's when I was the happiest. And I wanted Elder Brower and all the other 534 other missionaries to be happy. And that's how I was happy. Now, I know a lot of them are not like Brad Egan, that's for sure. But I think and then the number 2 thing that solidified that is right when we got to Japan. I think you were there already. But do you remember President Nelson coming over to our mission?
Before we got there.
It was the month before we got there. And so
I want to say vaguely. Anyway, we're talking 10 years here.
Anyway, Elder Hoskins, Corbin Hoskins, and Sam Nelson were our first mission assistants. And they said, yeah, President Nelson was just here. I said, so what did he teach us? He says, the thing that stood out in my mind, he said, he promised us as missionaries that if we would be obedient, that would be blessed. But if we'd be strictly obedient, that we would see miracles every day. And so Shima and I looked at each other and said, okay, if we really do love these missionaries, we want them to see miracles, don't we? And she said, yes. I said, okay, well, we're going to preach strict obedience so that they'll have their agency. They can be or they can't be. It's up to them, really. But that's the culture we wanted to set because we wanted them to see miracles. And that's when I started seeing miracles on my mission, is when I got the clue. I think I had the strictest mission president in the world. Some people say it was me after I had mine, but President Akagi. But President Akagi was amazing that way in the fact that he was so strict. I mean, even exercising, it was sit-ups and push-ups. That's all we could do to exercise. But because we were strictly obedient, we saw miracles. And that month that I've told you about, we had 3 family baptisms.
Which was
unheard of.
And so for the next it was with Elder Green, my 4th call. So I still had 19 months left on my mission. I decided I was going to be strictly obedient. And to this day, I still believe that being strictly obedient to the covenants that I made with my Heavenly Father, that's when I'm most happy. That's when I'm doing the things I'm doing. So
keep
that's
that up here.
That's why I learned the most. Thanks.
Respectable.
So
it's from the observation point of Elder Brower having these new mission presidents, or I guess both of you coming in. Gus Kaicho. How much did you guys meet with or know Gus of Senkyoushi?
We FaceTimed with them about 3 or 4 different times between the time in the 6 months before we went. But
so how much did we know him? An hour and a half.
Okay.
And then when we got in Japan, a couple of hours.
Okay.
We love them.
Yeah, they're great.
I would. I feel like my experience is I was still quite young in the mission to where I was like still getting used to it and still trying to learn and still in that like sponge mode to where I feel like I kind of barely knew Gus of Senkyoushi. And then you guys came in and I was less than a year, but maybe getting close to it when you guys came in, and it was a little bit weird, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, what are these what are they going to be like? Yeah. What are they going to change stuff?
I'm just getting used to Gus Kaicho. What's this
well,
guy
it was,
do?
I don't say this with any malice or anything, but I think that Gus of Senkyoushi was tired, and it showed.
I know he was. There's no way you can't be.
He was very cut and dry at the end, and that was like I came in at the very end of his mission, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like no minced words, just straightforward. I'm sure that he loved all of us immensely, but you guys come in and you guys are very lovely people.
Well, that's the only thing we are capable of doing. We don't have any other talents.
I'm so proud of both of you for being that way, and I'm semi-ashamed to be the person that feels a little crawly in my skin around people that are very lovey. So it was a big shift for me to go from like, you know, oh man, Gus Kaicho's just here to like lay it down and we're going to listen to his little meeting and he's not going to speak for long because he has
somewhere to be.
It doesn't got to be fluffed. It's just here's the message and let's move on to you guys. And that was a big change for me.
Well, sorry to make you uncomfortable.
I would say that it's my fault mostly. There's some people that can be overbearing. Don't get me wrong. With maybe I felt overbearing a little bit. I gotta say, I've joked about this throughout my life up to this point, post mission, but I would just walk into a room and you mostly would just be teary eyed, not even having to say a word or nothing to me, and I was like, oh my gosh! And then the first words out of your mouth are, "I love you, Elder," and I'm like, okay. Thank you.
I think.
Yes, sir. No, sir. The area's going well. Things are good. Can I please leave? But trying to hope that I've matured past most of that these days and can get along better with people.
You were pretty excited to see us 4 years ago when you saw us across the thing.
Yeah, it was.
You wanted a hug.
And I remember you were the one that came and hugged me.
Yeah.
So I can't, in good conscience, be like, oh man, I spent like 2 years with those people and I'm going to just ignore them here. So I felt obligated or call it the spirit, you know.
Well, but, thanks for feeling obligated. We remember that hug to this day.
Yeah.
Well, great. It was
great hug.
It was fun to show you my wife, and you know, she's my trophy wife, so fun to show her off. And you know, we were pregnant and that was going to be scary, and it was fun to be like, hey, look,
look what I've done.
We're having a kid. Yeah. And I also feel like the same way, even though I didn't feel super connected to both of you on the mission, mostly for my own fault of like trying to stay distant somewhat. I can't stay away from you guys, kind of. There's people in my life that I know are good for me, and that I feel myself like trying to distance myself from, that I have to, on like a good day, sell myself down the river and send you guys a message or send these people. And then when you message me back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I messaged them. What did I do? But
now they're going to be bothering me.
Yeah.
Now they're going to be telling me they love me.
Yeah, but it's such a, now that I'm older and wiser, 31 years old now, I sent you guys a message, what was it, a couple years ago, maybe after we met, when I was just stewing in my own spirituality and this testimonies and shaken faith and whatnot. I was like, man, who would I even talk to about this? Some people that love me and that would give me a perspective that's very strictly obedient throughout their whole lives and diligent going to the temple with that type of background. What would that type of perspective give me? And so I sent you guys kind of a loaded message that took you a while to get back to me because it was
a lot.
Vomited on you a little bit.
Well, if I remember right, sure. I remember we got the message and we were on our way.
Church history trip?
A history tour or what have you. We couldn't get back to you for 2 or 3 weeks. But
and I was kind of happy about it because I was like, okay.
But it gave us 2 or 3 weeks to think about how we were going to respond.
Oh, no. Yeah, I sent that message to the Maldens as well.
Oh, good for you.
They are great people.
My foo-foo.
They would have given you great advice.
And I've also...
We wouldn't have had a stew if we'd known that.
Well, I've also visited them. Drove to their place in Colorado, me and Kite and my wife. We went on a little trip and saw them, and I've been in contact with them here and there. And again, it's probably just because even if I might not want to, because I feel like shrinking being in the presence of such large people in my mind, but I'm also happy to have large people in my life that help build me up rather than tear me down. So
I would never tear you down.
You don't give yourself enough credit.
Would never tear you down. I love you.
Thank you.
Is my memory right? Did we not see you during Sakura? For some reason, I have a memory of you standing and you and me talking, and we were outside and Sakura in the background. Would that have ever really happened?
I'm trying to remember. I didn't spend much time in like actual Fukuoka.
But
near the temple where you guys were at?
We went to you. We were wherever you were.
Might have been a zone conference or an interview.
Or
what have you.
Or apartment or, I don't know. A church.
I could look back at my journals if I was as good as you at keeping one. I did keep one.
Good.
But I had to bounce from writing in a book to like some video journals to different styles of it, or else I was getting burned out.
Bored.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd have times where I would have to like switch up what I was doing. And I've tried to go back and kind of organize them chronologically. Here's some entries and then the video journal I took and then the other stuff, but I haven't finished that project yet. I've dabbled.
Me neither. Because I have
Shemai was the one that kept our journal on our mission.
I have all of the letters that I sent home, which were as much as I could, sharing everything, which was this much of what we were really doing. And then I also had my personal journal, and I haven't combined them chronologically yet still.
Yeah, I cloned my email when I got home. I was able to clone it before it got shut down or whatever. And so I still have it. And so that's my goal one day, is to just
That's awesome.
journal entry, letter home, journal entry, letter home,
that's
video.
Awesome. That'd be so cool.
Someday. But
you'll do it.
It's a big project and life is busy. It's hard to do something like that.
When you got 2 young boys, it's busy.
Yeah. Glad you guys got to see them for a second.
Yeah,
they're so adorable.
I told her to come stop by for a few, and she obliged. So.
She's beautiful, and your boys are darling.
Yeah, it's been coming up on 7 years that we've been married.
Good for you.
So, anyway, dang, I guess your mission. Anything to say about your career, maybe in between? I think we want to jump into more of you guys going on your mission, what that was like. I mean, out of the blue, getting a call from iRing, or maybe you guys had submitted papers. I want to get to there, but...
Yeah, we can tell you about that, but that doesn't happen.
Well, tell me about your amusement stuff. Yeah, your amusement park stuff. I guess you guys got married. We got to start there. You got home from your mission.
I worked at Lagoon Amusement Park for 9 years before I left on my mission. Started when I was a young 11-year-old boy.
Yeah, I'd say you were,
But then came home from the mission and went back to Lagoon and she knew what Lagoon was all about, the type of lifestyle it would be. Pedal to the metal for 5 or 6 months out of the year, and then had to find another job. So I worked at Lagoon in the summer, and then actually built houses. I was a carpenter in the wintertime with my first missionary companion.
Okay.
And we teamed up and built houses. And she actually was the general on our house, and then my companion and I built our house and what have you. So we did that for
that's cool
2 or 3 years, and then got married about a year and a half after we were home. And Lagoon, of course, didn't have year-round employment, and so I needed to provide for my wife. And so I worked 5 different jobs in 5 years trying to figure out what I was going to do. And the last one was we moved her over to Japan. She was a trooper, 7.5 months pregnant. She went to Japan, had her oldest son in Japan out in the Inaka, where they didn't have even electric beds. They had the first crank bed, the cranker, and what have you. And as you look up into the ceiling, as she's laying there on the bed, and you're seeing cobwebs all over, and they're pouring alcohol on the instruments to light them on fire, to sterilize them, we knew we were in trouble. And but she was a trooper. And so our first son was born in Japan, and
we took a 2-year-old with us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And her first language was Japanese and stuff, and English and Japanese back and forth. She would translate for Michaelin.
So where was your head at with all this? You following your crazy husband around, or were you excited?
When he came home, after we were married, we knew that I probably wasn't going to work when we started a family. So once I got pregnant, I kept working until I was going to have the baby, but we started living off just his income, and we're putting away my income so that we could go to Japan.
Okay.
I wanted to see if she'd like it. So I took her on a vacation over there, and we went around my mission field, the Kobe, Osaka, Kyoto areas and stuff, and she loved it. And so I knew that she would be willing to go back and stuff. So
you moved there to work. What job?
I was an English teacher over in Japan, just on a year contract, as long as we wanted to stay over there.
Okay.
But we only stayed 11 months. I had the only 2 grandkids of my mom, and a year was long enough.
Got to bring him back and get some time with Grandma.
She bribed me.
Yeah, okay.
If you come home, I'll make you a chocolate shake every Sunday for the rest of your life. She's lived up to that.
I was like, and?
She's doing well. We just had a chocolate shake the other night.
Okay. You are people of keeping promises. Yeah. I am proud of you guys. That's exemplary. I'm not very good at that.
So we came back from Japan, and that was in September when we got home, and I didn't have a job. And the people from Lagoon called me and said, would you come down to Lagoon? Think of coming back to work. And when I left to go, the fellow that I'd worked for 12, 13 years died. And he was like my dad, my second dad, my best friend. So no, I don't want to come back. Too many memories and what have you. I said, just come down and walk around the park and give me some ideas. I need some help. And he was a good friend of mine, so I did that. And we were blessed to the fact that while we were sitting there eating, he says, what are you going to be doing? I said, I'm looking for a job. He says, just come down and work for me. I says, I got to find another job. He says, no, I'll pay you for the next 7 months. You don't have to work. You come back in 7 months, but I'll pay you now. And so I did. I said, I will. I'll work for you for 1 year. And he said, that's all I need you for is 1 year. Well, that turned into 29 years. And so
at the end of that 1 year, did you fight him about staying or leaving? Okay.
No, I was enjoying what I was doing and stuff.
Great.
And so he stayed. And in my patriarchal blessing, it actually states, and I should have read that more often, probably, but it said that I would work with the youth of the world. And of course, at Lagoon, I had 400 teenagers every summer that I was taking care of.
And he thought that was fulfillment of his blessing. That was fulfillment
until President Eyring asked me, how did you get here? And I told him what I did, and he says, now I know why you were working at Lagoon. So you could take care of 500.
Lifelong training for a mission. Okay.
So that's what I did. Worked at Lagoon in the games area and stuff.
And you preached your 5 rules to these 400 at a time groups?
mainly to my supervisors, and we didn't have like zone conferences and stuff like that at Lagoon, but would have meetings every Monday morning with my 11 supervisors and managers. That's what I preached to them, that if they wanted to be happy and they wanted to be successful, this is what you need to do. You need to work hard every day at what you're doing, and you need to work smart. And I want you to be strictly obedient to the rules that's happening here, but we got to have fun. If we're not having fun, we're not doing it right. And then at the end of the day, I want you to go home tired. If you'll do that, you'll be happy. And they were. So it's all good.
This is interesting as a leader here at this establishment. Trying to set and manage culture is very challenging. So
yeah, it is.
Maybe I should start preaching the 5 rules of my mission president.
They work pretty good.
Just living by them. There's a lot of, there's this book over here that'll tell you to lead this way, and this book over here that'll tell you to lead that way, and this example in your life and that example in your life, and they're all kind of saying the same thing, but it's hard to
meld them together.
Yeah. Do you meld them together, or do you follow this one and kind of contrary to this one? It's been hard to develop over the last couple of years what I preach, I guess, to my teams and stuff like that. So kudos to you for locking in on 5 easy things to remember and effective things for being happy. It's fun. 29 years.
Yep.
You retired.
I was a bishop at the time, and we'd always talked about going on missions. And so I was being released as a bishop, and we decided, okay, we're 55 years of age, we're going to retire and start going on missions. And so we had our mission papers all filled out, and in our second interview with the stake president, he asked us at the end, what would you do if they didn't send you on a mission? And we looked at each other and I said, what are you talking about? They're begging for senior couples to go on missions, but of course we'll serve wherever the Lord calls us to serve.
I said, there's plenty of things to do here if he needs us to do something here.
That's kind of a scary loaded question, though, because what else could they ask you for?
So we waited for our call and waited for our call and waited for our call and waited, and never came. Finally, after a couple of months, the stake president called us and he said, I need to apologize. I've never sent your call in. I said, what? He said, I'm going to call you to be in the stake presidency. So I'd already quit my job at Lagoon, and now I was called in the stake presidency, and so I stayed retired for a year, but then I came in contact with a fellow that wanted me to do some consulting for him, and that consulting led to 38 different parks around the world that I consulted at. Then I got released from the stake presidency, and we said, okay, we're going on a mission, finally going to get do what we wanted to do. And a week before we were submitting our papers.
Between. We'd had our bishop's interview. We were going to go to the stake, and in between.
We got a call from Russell M. Nelson. No. Russ Ballard. Elder Ballard called us. Said, could you come down and meet with us? And we said.
And so you just pick up your phone one day and you, hello?
Yeah. Basically, that was it. He says, could you come and visit with me?
Office.
And so we went down there, and I'll let Shemai tell that story. She tells it a lot better than I do.
And this is what, downtown Salt Lake? You guys are called in.
Okay.
Meeting with Elder Ballard.
And he just kept saying, this is not a call. You can't talk to anybody. Nothing may ever come of this. At least, I'm not exaggerating, at least 20 times in the 45 minutes we were with him. It's like,
trying to be very reassuring.
A stack like this, and it's just don't, And then, okay, I think we've done everything
into the
we
45
need to
minutes,
do.
we got up to walk out, and
because I think you can be 98% sure you're getting called on a mission, President. I was like, you just told us.
I don't know whether.
Do you think he has a good time with that type of a meeting where he's like not trying to stress you out?
People might be interested to know how mission presidents are called.
Yeah.
You don't ever fill out an application. You don't. Anybody that would ever want to be a mission president is not very bright, not very smart. If you have the desire, you don't know what you're getting yourself into.
Fair enough.
But
are they mostly just couples that have submitted that they then select, or can you just get called out of the blue and say we want you?
That's what happens. Is past mission presidents, stake presidents, and general authorities are asked on a regular basis, do you have anyone who you would recommend that we consider interviewing to become a mission president? And so that's how it happens. So when we walked in with Elder Ballard, he says, do you know why you're here? And I said, no, we don't have a clue. He says, you're here to answer questions. Every general authority is given a list of about 200 applications or 200 recommendations from those people I just told you about. And it's our responsibility to whittle those down to 15 to 20. And so every general authority at 12, at 250, that's 3,000 applications they've got to go through to pick 100 mission presidents. So that's why he says you can't talk to anybody about this. But they go through and ask you every question in the book, from economic questions to employment issues to health issues to everything.
Your family, and your parents.
In fact, I know of a couple of mission presidents after those interviews that were never called until 2 or 3 years later when they were called.
That's stressful.
Yeah. And so we walked out of there, and when we walked out, and he says, well, you can feel 98% sure you're going to be called as a mission president. In fact, it's general conference next week. If you don't get called in the next week, you give me a call, and I'll make sure one of the first presidents gives you a call. So the week after general conference, President Eyring calls, and then we went down to meet with President Eyring. But you don't ever apply to be a mission president. You don't ever apply to be a bishop. You don't ever apply to be a stake president. Those callings come from the Lord, and of course they interview and put things together.
And I'm over here smiling because I can just, if I was to be standing outside the church office building knowing I was going into a meeting that I'm not sure what it's totally for, I'd be like sweating bullets and be super nervous. Like
we were the bullets were sweating. Why are we here? What are we doing here?
Did you do something? No, did you do something? What did you say?
Yeah.
Well, I can honestly tell you, President Eyring, the second interview, he says, you know why you're being called as a mission president, don't you? And I said, no. And he pointed at my wife, and he says, it's because of her. And I'm sorry, I am going to tear up. But it was because of Shimei that I was your mission president. So if you didn't like me, you can blame Shimei.
Can you elaborate on why that's the reason?
Well, she was 100% dedicated to the Lord. Would do anything that she was ever asked to do. She was the best mother, and I couldn't think of a better mother for 535 missionaries that when they needed something, she would be there for them. And anyway, she's amazing.
Comments on that?
You know better than that.
I mean, yeah. What do you think about that? How did that make you feel when he says that to you?
It makes me feel wonderful. It makes me feel very appreciative that he feels that way. Because I'm very blessed to have him as well.
And Eyring points his finger and says that to you. Is that a stressful thing? Is that a...
My experience was I was worried. I was worried because I'm not real lovey-dovey. And girls, I wasn't real... girls, they have a lot of drama, and I'm not really. And so I was worried that I wouldn't be the kind of mission mom that I should be for. And he said, Sister Egan, they all need to be loved. They're all gonna, but sometimes you just have to tell them to buck up and oh, good, I can do that.
Okay.
I can be there. I can be that person.
I've heard your complaints, and I raise you by. You've got a name tag on your shirt, and go for it. It's hard. Yeah, I know it's hard.
Everybody, I hope that I gave them what they needed, and sadly, sometimes I know that I didn't, but I can say, just the same as with my own children, I did the best I knew how to do at the time. So that's all I could do.
You'll come to understand, Elder, you have 2 young boys, and you're going to raise them in the same house, and maybe you'll have more coming down the road, I don't know, but they'll turn out so different. And how you
and they need different things.
And so it was overwhelming to us, needless to say. We had 4 children, but to have 535, what do you do? And,
different personalities, different ages, different experiences.
Everyone raised in a different home, in a different way, and
in a different country.
Yeah,
and that's cultures. That's the one thing she had the benefit of living in Japan, so she knew what Japan was like, but she didn't speak the language. And mission moms got to stand up and share their testimonies and got to speak to all their missionaries in Japanese and all of this. And so
Heavenly Father blessed me a lot in that way. I didn't feel like language was ever a barrier between me and my missionaries.
That's great.
Her broken English and her broken Japanese and with the Spirit.
What they knew.
So
it's good.
Well, I remember being pretty proud of you when you'd stand up and kind of shyly say, I hope that this goes okay. And then you have your Japanese written out and you would like bear your testimony in Japanese or something. No, those were good moments. I remember being pretty proud of you for doing that. Because it would be hard.
We do hard things in the Fukuoka mission, right?
Yeah, a lot of them. Many hard things.
And then we come home and we do more hard things.
Life is just hard.
Life is hard, but it's totally worth it.
I mean, you talk about that whole parenting thing too.
I think that's why Heavenly Father, one of the reasons, there's lots, but that's one of the reasons why these young men and young women go out at an early age at 18 and 19 and 20. And I don't know of any of our missionaries that they said that the mission was easy. I know every one of them said it was the hardest thing they've ever done. But it was hopefully preparing you to become a better manager, a better husband, a better father. And I'm guessing you're like the rest of us. We're still going through hard times. We still have hard challenges. But we served in the Japan Fukuoka mission, and we know if we can do that, with the Lord's help, we can do anything.
Yeah, it's hard to summarize an entire mission, but hard is definitely one of those things that's up there. Yeah. And I have to, I mean, I feel like most anybody would and could say that their mission was a formidable, that'd be the right word, a transformative time in their life. Like I almost see my life as split between like who I was before my mission, after my mission, and then maybe like marriage was the next split, the next era of my life. Yeah. So definitely
and now another one.
A milestone.
Father.
Yeah, for sure.
They just keep coming, Elder.
Yeah.
Oh no. Retiree, please come soon.
Set a goal, Elder. It won't happen unless you do.
Just kidding. If my boss is listening to this. No, this is a quick sidestep, but this has been a good place for me to work. I've been here for 7 years, and
that says a lot.
I enjoy it.
That really says a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worked, and I think about my mission every day here at work, and definitely apply stuff that I learned. And I mean, even just the intrinsic motivation to do good and try to be good. I don't necessarily think it's spiritual drive. On the mission, it's more spiritually driven to be like, 6:30 a.m. But I'm a missionary, so here we are. I still got to be here on time, and maybe there's a little less drive in the mornings from that. But learning how to work hard.
Little boys are your drivers. That beautiful wife are your drivers. That's
one to come here, and it's fun.
Yeah,
I like my job. It's hard, but it's fun. And
Number 4.
Yeah,
you're having fun.
Yeah,
so you're enjoying it.
But it's hard work.
It is.
But because we've done the hard work, it's more fun because I get to especially look back on a past of 7 years to see where this company's been and where it is now.
And you're a part of that.
And it's fun to be a part of it.
That's awesome.
It's fun to see.
Some people don't think that's fun. I think it's fun.
They're in the wrong job then. They need to find a job that's fun.
Or they're just stinkers and everything has its negatives more than the positives.
Could be.
Everything's a choice. That was.
We've said that a few times on this podcast. It feels like a lot of things are a choice. Maybe we can get more into that a little later, but the actual mission. So you guys get called. How quickly after the iRing conversation were you guys actually like?
We were called.
You guys go to the MTC.
6 months.
We were President iRing called us in October. If we'd serve in a land that spoke the Japanese language. 2 months later, we found out it was going to be in Fukuoka.
Okay.
That was in December. I was actually over in Australia working at the time at an amusement park over there when the call came. We come home And we have 6 months of training before we go.
Wait, 6 months of training?
From October until the following.
Did they just give you a book, or is there a?
We are watching videos. We're on cats. We're driving to Provo for language twice a week.
Okay.
We've got meetings in Salt Lake. We've got.
Well, it's not a 3 month. It's not a 3-year mission. It's basically a 3-year and 10-month.
Yeah, that surprises me to hear you say that.
And they don't tell your family that either, so you're still being the mom and grandma and have all these other things too. So it was.
So that was
intense.
hard.
Okay.
And we had a couple of meltdowns.
Yeah.
In those times, I remember coming home from Provo and seeing,
I didn't want to get out of the car.
Seeing my wife in tears and crying. I can't do this. I can't learn this language. Just very similar now, because she was going through that. Because she saw all of our missionaries coming over to Japan in the first month or two, crying, and I can't get this language. I just want to go home.
I totally knew what they were feeling.
And
actually, the thought I had was, how could I have done this to my boys?
We sent one to learn Chinese and another one to speak Spanish and
live in very different conditions than.
Where did they serve?
Taiwan and Paraguay.
Okay.
One of the poorest countries. He slept on dirt floors, and the experiences he had over to China learning Chinese was like Japanese and Taiwan, and so Lord prepared us that way. But it was that 9 months leading up to our mission, there were times where, can we really do this? Why did he call us?
Yeah, I had no idea about that.
We were meeting with heads of companies. We were meeting with CEOs, with doctors, with lawyers.
That's the humbling part when you go to they have a mission president seminar for 1 week right before you go. And you're sitting there with all these people that are so accomplished, and they've worked at BYU as a professor in scriptures and history and word. He worked in an amusement park. And
what did you do for a living? I worked in games.
Games.
I worked at an amusement park.
Yeah.
What are you good at?
Yeah.
Nothing.
You're good at team building and culture building, and that's.
We looked at each other and said that. Why are we here?
But
what are we gonna do?
I can show you in my journal where several times during that seminar, words would come out of President Uchtdorf's for sure. That's one I remember the most. That it was like he was exactly talking to him. And Sister, I had a sweet experience with Sister Bednar, kind of the same. They shared part of her experience and when she got done, was walking out, I just mouthed to her, thank you. And then we had a break, and then she was coming back, and there were so many people in the hall, but she saw me across the hall, and she made an effort to come over, and she just you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
And President Oaks did the same thing to me while she was with Sister Bednar. Elder Oaks' son served with me in Kobe when I was a young man on my mission, and I talked with him a little bit about that. And he could see the deer in the headlights lights in my eyes, and I was lost, and I wasn't going to be able to do this. And he came over, put his arm around me. You're going to be okay, Elder. You're going to be okay. You can do this. Just trust in the Lord. You can do this.
Man.
So being a mission president wasn't any different than being a missionary. It was hard. It was really, really hard.
I mean, yeah. You're talking 4 years here. I basically had no idea. I mean, the 3 years, I just already told you that already sounds arduous to be serving for 3 years, but for 10 months before that. It sounds, I don't know, maybe I'm just a skittish person or something, but it sounds so scary to be in a room with the people that you were in the room with.
It's just humbling. It just makes you feel
more than scary. It was humbling. I can still remember. Do you remember when we had? I don't know if you were still there, but we had a big mission taikai. We had 3 general authorities. President Elder Gong was there, and Elder Cook was there, and Elder Stevenson was there. Well, talk about humbling. There was a meeting beforehand where there was Elder Cook from the Quorum of the 12, Elder Stevenson, Elder Gong. We had Elder Yamashita, Elder Che, Elder Whiting, all these general authorities, and then little Brad Egan that's sitting in there in that room and talk about a humbling experience. And you don't say a whole lot, you just listen. But then when Elder Cook turns to you and says, President Egan, we want your input. What are your feelings? What are your thoughts? Whoa. It's humbling.
Well, it's, I feel like what I know of you two, I believe you belong in those rooms.
You're so sweet.
To look up to you and see you at that type of a level, as where I'm at. They to you guys might be, that step above, and you guys feel humbled to be in the room with them, but to know that you guys are coming down here to like my work and to like be on, just discuss your life and the mission with little old Tyler, I feel kind of humbled.
You're kind.
You've got it skewed. We feel like if you believe the scriptures, every generation is superior to the one before them because he saves the best for last. So your kids are...
You're way heads and shoulders above us.
We will someday see. And sometimes when I was in meetings looking at my missionaries, I already saw the spiritual giants that you are and where you're going to be compared to little old me is.
One of the amazing things I remember President Irene saying to us is, President Egan, you're going to be looking at these 18 or 19-year-olds, and you're going to be sitting in cottage meetings, or you're going to be teaching with them, and you're just going to be awestruck at how spiritual they are, how well they can teach. Don't forget that. Because when you walk out, remember they're 18 and 19-year-old knuckleheads. They're going to make stupid decisions. They're going to make stupid...
But just remember...
Look at them as the Lord looks at them. And that's how we look at you. And you're going to be much better than we ever were.
I don't know how to take that. Because I want to believe you.
It's true.
Trust me.
It's
I
true.
wish I could live up to it. I felt like I was.
You can.
You can. You
could.
Well, you are.
It's what Shimei says. It's the Abinadi. It's a choice.
Yeah, that circles back for sure. I wonder where my choices have led me. Because even back on my mission, when we would do exchanges, for example, I remember going on one exchange, and I can't remember the elder's name, but I knew his reputation preceded him as this spiritual giant of a missionary. And I was maybe younger on the mission and going out and actually like being on an exchange with him. I came back and I was like, I just had the worst day ever. I was proselyting with Jesus, and I was like just this stupid little 18, how old was I? 21 at the time? I left at 21, so was older than some, but still, I felt like a small little missionary next to this spiritual giant, and I wonder why that's been a theme of my life, but I don't know. Not like we got to dive into that and have a therapy session here, but
I think part of it is our own. We don't see ourselves how the Savior sees us. And so we're comparing, and we shouldn't be. Because, yes, we had a lot of amazing spiritual giants. All at one point or another, every one of our missionaries were amazing spiritual giants.
I think the natural man in us, we're the hardest on ourselves, just by nature. But the way that a Kaicho sees another Brower as a district leader is someone that can lead and someone that can guide and help with our missionary. You see them, that was a real blessing that I hope that you'll have someday in your life. As a bishop, I saw that. As a mission president, I saw that. Is I could see the missionaries the way that the Lord saw them. Not as the 19-year-old knuckleheads that they were. I saw a lot of that. But you have so much potential.
Amazing people that we love.
I guess a curiosity that I have is, and I think it kind of falls in these lines, you probably have this mentality and this spirit in the room when you are doing transfer calls? I've always been kind of curious about how that works, and because I got paired up with some companions that I'm like,
really?
Kaijo, she might.
Why
don't you do this?
Many times we had those exact same thoughts.
I'll tell you, when the transfers word, I think a lot of people maybe that'll be watching this would be interested. One of the things that President Eyring said when he called us apart, he said, there's many things as a mission president that you can do.
Delegate.
That you can delegate. But there is one thing that you cannot delegate amongst other things, and that is transfers. You can gather input from your district leaders. You can gather input from your zone leaders. You can gather input from your assistants, from your companion. But you're the only one that can make that decision. Now, Elder, President, don't mess it up. And he did that exact thing. He pointed his finger at me and he said, don't mess it up. The Lord has spent years and years and years. You need to make sure that you have the right missionary in the right place at the right time in their mission with their right companion, so that when I have somebody walk by or they walk into the church or they see them on the street corner, that they will recognize them as missionaries of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and they'll want to know more. Now, don't mess it up. And so I took transfers very, 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 very seriously. I don't know if you knew what we did, but you were there. We gathered information from district leaders every transfer beforehand. We gathered information from zone leaders. We gathered information from the assistants. And then I would know 4 to 5 months ahead of time which missionaries were coming into our mission. And so if you were coming into our mission in January, I knew the previous July. And so I started praying in July for 6 months that I might know a little bit more about Elder Brower or whoever the case might be. Because I think I've told this story, but the most important thing in the mission to me was not the zone leaders, was not the district leaders, was not the assistants, but it was the trainers. And who was going to train these missionaries that their mothers and dads were sending out to the mission.
Trusting that they would be taken care of. And
so the first decisions that we would make every transfer is not who was going to be district leaders or who was going to be zone leaders. In fact, there was a number of times I thought this particular person would be a zone leader, or I thought this person, he'll be my next assistant. But he wasn't. He got called as a trainer instead. There was a lot of missionaries that way that came up to me and said, why didn't you ever call me to do this? Why didn't you ever call? It's not important where you're called. It's how you serve, not where you serve. And so our first transfer, we had 32 people coming in to the mission. If you remember, that's a lot. So guess what? You got to have 32 trainers. And so we started praying 4 to 5 months ahead of time. I asked President Gustafson to send me all of the names of every missionary.
All your pictures.
All your pictures, where you were from, so that I could start to memorize your faces and memorize you and have the Spirit talk to me about the elders that were already there who could serve. And sisters, yeah. And so I would pray and pray and pray for 4 or 5 months. I would fast. And then the process started. Missionaries, we would get down with the 2 assistants, and that's the first thing we would pray about is trainers. Who would the Lord have us call to serve as Elder Brower's trainer? And we'd talk about every single missionary, all 256 missionaries, who would be best for Elder Brower. And it was a long process.
Yeah.
So we'd take the names of the district leaders, the zone leaders, the assistants, who would they recommend? And so we cut it down real quick from 256 to about 50 of those recommendations. And then we would take out that picture of Elder Brower, the brand new missionary that was coming in 4 or 5 months, and put him in and pray about him. Give us guidance that we might be able to understand who he will need on his mission. And then we'd start whittling it down. And we'd usually get it down to 10 or 15 for Elder Brower. and then we'd leave it up to the Lord. Then we'd all pray again. So there was 3 or 4 prayers said every time about one missionary and who their trainer would be. Miracles happened. Every single transfer.
Things we had no clue about, but
it started on the very first transfer. We put together, there was 2 young sisters, Japanese sisters coming to the mission. And back in the early day when you were there, we remember if you bring the trainers in 3 or 4 days ahead of time and train them, then send them back out, and then they have to receive their trainee, so to speak, in their location. Well, Sister so-and-so, and I'm not going to mention names, but a Japanese sister came up to Shimei, and she says, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. My best friend is coming to the mission field.
Coming to our mission.
Coming to our mission. And she said, really? He said, yeah, she's in the MTC right now in Salt Lake. She'll be coming in a couple of days. Shimei asked me afterwards, after it was all said and done, who did you put with Sister so-and-so? It's actually Sister Kumano. And I says, I don't know. I don't know who I put. Let's walk over and take a look on the board, because there was 32 of them coming in. We walked over, and it was this sister, her best friend, the Lord had put together. We received a letter the next day from her mother saying that she doesn't want to come to the mission. She wants to come home. She's going to need somebody that in confirmation. She'll know this young lady.
Then she'd only been in the mission for a very short time.
Just 3 weeks. And her
grandfather
grandfather
really
passed away.
With.
And she
was with her best friend for everything.
And that started it. And I'm here to tell you and testify whatever word you want to use. That happened. All 27 transfers. That the Lord put somebody together for a reason, for a trainer. There was times you weren't there, but when they first come in, I would then interview them, the brand new missionaries. And there were times, of course, at that particular time, most of the decisions were already made, but we hadn't announced those yet. There were times.
Last minute switch.
Last minute switches. Why? I don't know why, but I just felt Sister so-and-so is wrong. She's not with the right person. And on transfers, you move one, you got to move 2 or 3 or 4. It's the domino effect.
Make it work, sure.
We got another sister Rasmussen was her name, and Sister Hippolyte. We didn't know them. They were just coming over. Of course, I knew their names. We got their applications, whatever. But they were going to 2 separate places in the mission and what have you. But during that interview, I thought, no, they're in the wrong place. Well, they can't be companions. How are they going to be put together? Well, the Lord moved them. There was 2.
They were
in the same apartment together. So in a 4-sister apartment. To do that, I had to move 3 other sisters around to make that happen. Well, we were coming home from the church, and what happened, Shimei?
They got in the back of my van. They said, see, he heard us. We promised him if we would be strictly obedient in the MTC that he wouldn't separate us. And he didn't. And because of the shuffling, other prayers were answered by mothers. 2 other sisters were put together that their mothers were praying they'd be able to be together, that I didn't find out until the next interview cycle. So, yeah, the Lord we were just there. He was doing all the heavy lifting.
And so, Elder Brower, why did you have certain companions that went from the training down to the district leaders, to the zone leaders, to companions, and they prayed about. We would bring in even Shimei when the board was done. Would bring in Shimei and say, take a look at this. See what you think. Are you sure you're going to put this elder with this elder? Are you sure you're putting this sister with this sister? There's going to be challenges and problems if you do. And I says, I know, but that's what the Lord. We've already prayed about it.
Because we felt the same thing, and he just kept telling us, nope, this is what needs to be.
And then you would hear 2 weeks later or a month later, I mean, I had those companions. I know what they're like in the mission field. Why did I have this companion that did not want to go out and work, that all they wanted to do is sit in a person's home and watch TV? What am I supposed to learn from this? Well, we all learn. Sometimes it takes longer to come to understand why, but President Irene, that's one thing you can't delegate, President. So,
jeez, yeah, this is it's embarrassing to say that, little old Tyler was just waiting for my transfer call all day, and it's like 8 p.m. and it still hasn't come. And I'm like, what is going on? Come on. I want to know if I'm getting out of here or whatever. All these selfish thoughts, let's say, but it's, the things that you don't know is y'all are staying up late and trying to figure it out and praying multiple times about it and making sure that it's right. And it's not right yet. So we're not pushing it out. We're not making calls and going through this process of getting it where it needs to be, to where you say, okay, start making calls, I guess. And
we were home in our apartment at the temple probably 5 days before
about
transfer.
8 days. 8 days
5 of those
every
days,
6 weeks.
5 of those days were before transfers, and then 3 days with transfers and sending people home and all this.
Mm-hmm.
But those 5 days were spent fasting.
Mm.
It wasn't the 40 days, 40 nights, but there was a lot of times where we were 2 or 3 days at a time trying to get inspiration and guidance and revelation, and wouldn't come, and so would pray again. And it were probably some of the most spiritual experiences that I've ever had in my life.
Mm.
Not knowing why the Lord was putting this person with this person, but feeling literally the Spirit saying, this is right.
Mm.
And then coming to find out a month later or 2 months later why it was right.
Little confirmation of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's years later when they're coming to our house for dinner and say, well, did you ever know that?
Yeah, we're finding out things 8 years later that
sure.
No, we didn't know why that was, but now we do.
My admiration and respect has been leveled up by learning about mission presidents and about your guys' journey through this.
Don't.
I don't want you to belittle it all. It's, what do I say? One of my things as a missionary was to just try to be a sharp tool in the hands of the Lord. That was one of my goals. I understood and tried to toe the line between I'm Elder Brower, I have my past, I have who I am and my experiences, and that's important to the mission, and also I'm just a vessel. There's kind of that fine line between you don't want to do it completely your way, and you also need to be yourself, or else you're not going to be able to connect with the person, like you said, that might recognize me versus somebody else.
Exactly.
So it was a hard thing to understand and balance, and to, just back to you guys, where you guys have put in this work and been these vessels for the Lord's work. That's pretty cool.
We all had our jobs to do, and we all wanted to be that person to just whatever he wanted us to do. We wanted to be obedient. We wanted to do his will. We just wanted to do the best we could do. It didn't matter whether it was us or whether it was you. We all had the same desire.
Mm-hmm.
If I could have, my favorite thing as a mission president, was when interviews were over, zone conferences were over, and I was out knocking on doors with missionaries.
But that didn't get to happen very much.
It didn't happen enough. But that was my favorite thing to do, is just to put everything where I want to be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be you. And that was so humbling to be able to go out there and street contact and walk up and down the baseball fields and play baseball with the little kids, with the missionaries. And those were fun times.
I mean, that was pretty thick right there. That's impressive. Some good stuff. I don't know what more we could say.
No, we don't need to drag it on anymore.
Not to me. That's I do feel a lot of respect and admiration for you two. Thanks for being that for me and for the other missionaries. I imagine, what I'm trying to get at is, I feel like most missionaries are pretty good, and I feel like the majority of mission presidents are really good. Because how would they, put you guys in that type of a position without vetting you very well? So it seems like they vet you guys pretty good. You guys come in, I would expect a mission president to be how you guys are. very connected, very spiritually driven, very work hard but work smart, and really care about putting people in the right place and taking that finger in your face very seriously. Don't mess it up. I appreciate all the missionaries that worked as hard as they could, and it's hard to say that the ones that I was either paired with or knew of that didn't work very hard and didn't take it very serious. It's a little harder to hold that as high of an admiration or respect for, because I was out there for a reason, and I did try and work hard, and it was hard to be around some that maybe weren't trying as hard, or you were trying to drag along or something like that. So
they made their choice too. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's helped you with some of these employees that you have that maybe aren't quite as hard of workers as you'd like them to be.
Right.
And so you can think back to that elder that you spent 6 weeks with, or maybe 3 months, and thought, what can I do to motivate them? Well, this is what I actually ended up doing. And so you can utilize that with your children.
And no matter what, there's learning to be had from good and bad experiences.
And that's what I was waiting to say is, positive or negative, there's always something to be learned, something to take away, something. That's what I don't want to be, or this is what I do want to be, or you learn more Christ-like attributes if you're having to be. He has to be so patient with his spouse, and that's why he's such a great man. He wouldn't be as wonderful as he is if he didn't have to be so patient and loving and understanding. I mean, you go
through those hard things, because to be patient, I don't think comes naturally to most. So it's a hard thing to learn the patience and to learn how to deal with some knucklehead 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
But I think that was some of the tough times in interviews, when I knew that Elder so-and-so was not putting forth the effort, was not getting up out of bed, was not. And how can I motivate this young man to do what he wants to do? He's missing out on all these wonderful blessings. That's what you're going to see as a parent. You'll have one of your sons, and hopefully this won't happen too often or too soon, but they're going to make decisions that you're not going to agree with. Mm-hmm. And are you going to let them make that decision? Sure, because they have their agency. But it hurts. Mm-hmm. And how can I do? Well, I can teach. And hopefully they can have the desire to change. But nobody's going to change, or nobody's going to do what they don't want to do. And so 535 different missionaries trying to motivate 535 different ways. I know I failed at times. But I didn't fail in not giving my best effort. And maybe what helped one elder, I should have tried differently to do this way or this way. But that's the way the Lord works, is He teaches correct principles and He lets them govern themselves. A lot of missionaries didn't think I let them govern themselves, but they'd say, "Why are you making us do this?" Well, it's in the White Handbook. Mm-hmm. You don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but if you do, I know you're going to see miracles, and that's what I want you to see. I want you to have the same experiences that I had with 3 families in Tukatski. Most joy I've ever felt in my life up to that point. That's why we did what we did.
Because of the Lord. He loved you all so much. You were all His favorite. And when I would stand at a conference and look out into your faces, my heart would just swell because of His love for you. And
there was a missionary that I was ready to send home. I was so frustrated. I tried and tried and tried, and one of my goals coming out of the mission was never to send anyone home, to work with them. And I was this close, and I went into that interview and I started in on Elder so-and-so. And about 2 words into it, the Lord says, "This is my missionary, not yours." And I did the Elder tear-up thing like you said I always did, and I felt the Spirit, and I apologized to Elder so-and-so, and I said, "Your Heavenly Father loves you. He wants you to be a missionary. You can do this if you want." And he says, "I just don't know how." I said, "You just got to try. That's all He cares. Just try. That's all you got to do." And you've heard the many times from general authority. The Lord loves effort. All you got to do is try. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Just do what you can do.
Sure.
And the atonement will take care of the rest. He ended up being a great missionary, but I almost sent him home. The last 4 or 5 months of his mission, he was unbelievable. And so glad that I got chastised.
Thanks for this opportunity.
Yeah, of course. I think Jerry Johnson, he's been on the podcast and he said it best. And he said it best I know, like, this is a loose quote, but he's like, I know that my mom loves me, I know that my wife loves me, and I know that Kaicho loves me. He's like, that's one of those things I just know are like truths of this life in this world. I would echo that I feel like I was loved very much, and even still am, and even a simple birthday text, like, some people don't get those in their life from their parents who have passed on or something like that. But something as small as that, even years later, that I know because other missionaries have gotten texts, I'm not the only one, we've gotten messages. And even something as small as that is continuing to show me that I am loved, even though I'm weird little Tyler. And it's cool to see. It's cool to see and imagine, this is going to sound weird, but I feel a little bit like I'm sitting with Jesus. I feel like you guys have been an amazing tool in his hands to show us his love through yours. And I don't want to get too deep about this, but it's weird for me to introspect because I understand that our journey in this life is to try to prepare to meet God, and that it will be less that he is trying to kick us out of heaven and more that we need to feel comfortable in his presence. And it's curious to me that I've come into a room with you guys before, and my first impression is, don't cry at me, man. And that makes me feel uncomfortable. So that's something I'm going to think about a little bit. Like, why have I felt so uncomfortable about Jesus's love through yourself and yourself? Well, that's a little curious. You got any comments on that before we end here?
Well, we're the last thing of Jesus. We're just trying to be like him. And we have our faults, just like anybody else. We're not perfect, and we try every day to do those things that are right. I keep thinking of all of the people that Jesus. There was a lot of people that weren't comfortable in Jesus. The Sanhedrin, the Pharisees, a lot of people that didn't understand. But I don't know that they took the time and the effort to really try and get to know him. I think if a person really tries to get to know the Savior, they'll come to love him. And would I feel comfortable in Jesus' presence right now, knowing that he knows everything that I've done, the mistakes that I've made? Probably not. But I have a desire to be there. I want to be there with him, even though, I might feel uncomfortable in the beginning, just like I felt uncomfortable with Elder Cook and Elder Stevenson and Elder Gong and Elder Yamashita and Elder Che. I didn't feel comfortable being there. But I think that's the natural man in us. And it's not how our Heavenly Father sees us, because he's invited us all and wants us all there.
Yeah, that's something good to ponderize. I appreciate you both.
We love you.
We love you, Elder. Always will.
And I know it, just like Elder Johnson knows it and a bunch of other missionaries. I do. It's despite my flaws and despite maybe I was some of the ones that were giving you some frustration before your one-on-one or something, but either way, I knew that you loved me, so I think that's worth a lot.
I hope that everybody knows we love the Lord too. He's the one that put us all together. He knew that we needed each other. And I'm grateful. And I felt like he knew what you all needed. And if there was something that we could do to help with that, we tried.
Mm.
But he knows exactly each and every one of you. And he loves you so much. Don't ever forget that.
Thank you.
You're the best. Senkyoushi Sitdown.
Yeah, Senkyoushi Sitdown.
Number 4, number 5, complete and over.
Yeah.
Signing out.
No, this is fun. Thank you.
Okay.
We'll continue our evening in a little while.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, guys.